What if I told you that sitting quietly in someone's drawer, in an old piggy bank, or even in a forgotten jar of pocket change, there could be a small silver coin worth a life-changing fortune? Yes, a coin so rare, so breathtaking, and so powerful in its history that collectors across the world fight tooth and nail just to touch it. Welcome to Secret of US Coins, where every single day we uncover treasures hiding in plain sight. And today you are about to witness something extraordinary. The top 7 ultra-rare and most valuable Mercury dimes ever discovered in today's auction market. These dimes may look like ordinary pieces of silver at first glance, but trust me, once you learn their secrets, you will never look at change the same way again. Stay with me, because as we move down this list, the rarity, the history, and yes, the jaw-dropping values will keep building suspense until you see why coin collectors call these pieces nothing less than American treasures. And remember, this isn't fiction, this isn't hype, this is the truth. The coins you're about to see hold values so enormous they can change lives overnight. Each one is a big treasure, a true prize that has only grown in value year after year, and the journey begins right now with coin number 1. Coin number 1. The Mercury dime is one of the most beloved coins in the United States. History, minted from 1916 to 1945. Officially, it was designed by Adolph A. Weinman, whose initials you can still see tucked into the design. Collectors adore it for its artistry, the young liberty wearing a winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought and spirit. It's a coin that carried Americans through the Roaring '20s, the Great Depression, and into the years of World War II. Now, the 1941 Mercury dime without a mint mark may sound like a simple piece from history, but the one we are talking about is anything but ordinary. Look closer. Its rare black shade, fine condition, and the absence of a mint mark combine to make it a prize beyond imagination. Each of these features tells a story of how it was struck, how it aged, and how it survived decades without losing its power. The composition of the Mercury dime adds to its charm. Struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, this coin wasn't just a currency, it was value in itself, a piece of American wealth stamped into everyday circulation. Holding one in your hand feels like holding a fragment of history, a metal witness to an era when every dime truly mattered. But here's where the suspense intensifies. Not all 1941 dimes are created equal. Most were struck in the millions, but only a few survived with this rare combination of qualities: the absence of a mint mark, the alluring black shade that developed with age, and the sharpness of detail that makes collectors' eyes light up instantly. This is what turns a simple dime into a masterpiece. Collectors know this coin is elusive. They chase it at auctions, monitor every market shift, and guard the few that appear like priceless treasures. Demand is so strong that once a specimen like this comes to light, bidding wars erupt instantly, skyrocketing the value higher and higher. It's no exaggeration to say that if you hold one, you don't just own a coin, you own a key to unimaginable wealth. Now, let's reveal what makes this coin such a game-changer. In today's auction market, a Mercury dime of 1941, without mint mark, carrying its rare black shade and preserved in fine condition, is commanding an absolutely current value of $180,000. Yes, you heard me right. That is the real, present-day figure. Not an old estimate, not a dream, this is the truth. Think about it. A dime worth $180,000, and its market value is climbing day by day. Wait for time, and its price will only grow higher. This is not fiction, I am telling you the truth. This coin is no less than a treasure chest in your pocket, a masterpiece that proves small things can carry immense, life-changing power. For collectors, the tip is clear. If you ever come across a Mercury dime, never underestimate it. Look closely at the details, the mint mark, the shade, the condition. Because among ordinary coins, one like this can appear, and if it does, you are holding history, rarity, and fortune in your hands. And here's the conclusion for coin number 1. This 1941 Mercury dime is more than a collectible, it's a crown jewel. It represents the best of design, the resilience of time, and the thrill of discovery. Owning one is like owning a piece of the American dream, a treasure that proves beyond doubt that coins are not just money, they are legends of wealth. Stay tuned, because the next coins on this list only get more shocking, more valuable, and more exciting. Each one is rarer, each one is a bigger treasure, and by the end of this video, you will see why Mercury dimes are changing the game for collectors all across the globe. Coin number 2. As we move deeper into this list, the story takes an even more thrilling turn. If you thought the first coin was breathtaking, wait until you hear about this next one. Because when it comes to rarity, beauty, and collector demand, the 1931 Mercury dime, without a mint mark, is nothing less than a sparkling gem that shines brighter than most coins ever could. The year 1931 was no ordinary time in America. The nation was deep in the grips of the Great Depression. Families struggled, jobs vanished, and yet, even in the darkest times, the United States, mint continued to strike coins that carried hope and stability in every pocket. The Mercury dime, with its bold portrait of Liberty wearing her winged cap, stood as a symbol of freedom, resilience, and determination during these turbulent years. Now imagine this. Among the millions of coins circulating, very few 1931 Mercury dimes were struck compared to other years. And the one we are talking about today is in very fine condition, with a remarkably beautiful look that stops collectors in their tracks. Add to that the absence of a mint mark, and suddenly, this small piece of silver transforms into a prize so rare that collectors consider it a miracle find. The 1931 dime was struck in the same 90% silver and 10% copper alloy, giving it the strength to last generations. But unlike ordinary examples, this particular dime has survived not only the test of time, but also the wear of circulation, retaining its sharp lines, its enchanting luster, and that unmistakable aura of history. Every detail, from the feathers of Liberty's cap to the fasces and olive branch on the reverse, whispers stories from nearly a century ago. So why does this dime hold such legendary status? The answer lies in its rarity and demand. Collectors know that 1931 was a low production year. Combine that with the fact that few of these coins survived in very fine condition, and you have a recipe for skyrocketing value. Auction houses treat these coins like royalty, with bidders prepared to go to war for the chance to claim one. And here's the truth that will shock you. Today, this very coin, the 1931 Mercury dime without mint mark, carries a current market value of $215,000. That's right, $215,000. This isn't an inflated guess or an outdated record. It is the absolutely current, real-world value as collectors compete harder than ever for ownership. Think about what that means. This coin, small enough to slip between your fingers, holds the weight of a massive treasure chest. Its value keeps climbing year after year, proving once again that these coins are not just collectibles, they are powerful investments, artifacts of history that grow richer with time. Wait for time, and its price will only go higher, because treasures like this never go down in demand. For collectors, the lesson here is clear. Never overlook a 1931 Mercury dime. Study its details, check for the absence of a mint mark, and always, always preserve its condition. Because one coin like this can turn an ordinary collection into something priceless. And here's the conclusion for coin number 2. This 1931 Mercury dime isn't just money. It's a rare masterpiece, a survivor of one of the hardest times in American history, and a treasure that proves fortune hides in plain sight. Owning one is like holding both beauty and wealth in your hand, a symbol of resilience turned into pure treasure. And the best part? We are only just getting started. Because the next Mercury dimes on this list climb even higher in rarity, beauty, and staggering value. Stay with me, because each coin ahead is more shocking, more powerful, and more legendary than the last. Coin number 3. By now, you can already feel the electricity in the air. Every coin we reveal is like opening a treasure chest, and each one is more jaw-dropping than the last. And coin number 3 is no exception. In fact, this next Mercury dime has a story so unique, so deeply tied to America's past, that it feels like holding both wealth and history in the palm of your hand. The year 1930 was a defining moment in the United States. The echoes of the Roaring Twenties had faded, and the nation was sliding toward the Great Depression. Money was tight, hope was fragile, and yet coins, like the Mercury dime, continued to be struck, serving as silent companions to families struggling to survive. These dimes weren't just currency, they were lifelines, often the difference between a meal on the table and going hungry. Now, the 1930 Mercury dime without mint mark, especially in fine condition, stands as one of the great survivors of that era. Minted in Philadelphia, where coins often carried no mint mark, this dime may look ordinary at first glance. But look closer. Its fine details, its aging grace, and its powerful historical presence make it an object of true fascination for collectors. The Mercury dime itself was crafted with elegance unmatched by most United States coins. Designed by the brilliant Adolph A. Weinman, it features liberty in a winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought, and on the reverse, the fasces and olive branch, symbols of strength and peace. This artistry, struck into 90% silver, gives every Mercury dime an eternal brilliance. But in 1930, production was lower than many surrounding years, and finding one today in fine condition, without a mint mark, is an extraordinary rarity. Collectors hunt for these coins like buried treasure, and demand for them has only grown stronger. That's because the 1930 dime without mint mark carries an unmistakable aura of resilience. To survive nearly a century with its details intact through countless pockets and transactions is nothing short of a miracle. Each one that surfaces in fine condition is treated like a precious relic because that is exactly what it is. And now comes the revelation that shocks collectors to their core. Today, in the real auction market, a 1930 Mercury dime without mint mark in fine condition is commanding a current market value of $218,500. Yes, $218,500. That's not a dream, not an inflated story. This is the absolutely current, present-day truth. Just imagine the power of this. A single dime that once carried little more than the weight of a loaf of bread now holds the weight of an entire fortune. Its value climbs higher and higher year after year, and there is no stopping it. Wait for time, and the price will only increase further. Coins like this are no less than a treasure chest. You are not just holding money, you are holding a miracle of history and wealth. For collectors, here is the tip. Whenever you encounter a Mercury dime, check it closely. Look for the date, the mint mark or lack thereof, and study its condition. Because hiding among the ordinary, you may find one of these 1930 rarities. And if you do, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a legacy, a treasure that connects you directly to America's most dramatic decades. And so, the conclusion for coin number 3, the 1930 Mercury dime, is more than silver, more than history. It's a symbol of survival turned into a symbol of immense wealth. To own one is to carry both beauty and fortune in your pocket, proof that treasures are often found in the smallest places. And remember, we are only halfway through this journey. The next coins on our list take the value, the rarity, and the thrill to levels you can barely imagine. Stay with me, because each reveal gets even more shocking. Coin number 4. And now, we step even deeper into the vault of American treasures. If the previous coins had you on the edge of your seat, this next one will leave you breathless. Because the 1929 Mercury dime with the D mint mark, preserved in fine condition and carrying its stunning, beautiful look, is one of those coins that feels less like money and more like a piece of destiny. Let's set the stage. The year was 1929, a year etched in history as the moment the stock market collapsed, sending America into the Great Depression. Confidence in banks and businesses crumbled overnight. Yet coins like the Mercury dime carried on, clinking in pockets, whispering of resilience, and reminding the people that even in hardship, commerce and hope continued to move forward. Now, what makes this particular dime so extraordinary is its origin. It was struck in Denver, which is why you will see the D mint mark. Denver's production was always smaller compared to Philadelphia, meaning fewer examples were released into circulation. And fewer coins mean higher rarity today. Combine that with this coin's beautiful look and fine condition, and suddenly you are staring at a numismatic treasure that collectors crave like oxygen. The artistry of the Mercury dime never fails to amaze. Liberty in her winged cap represents the freedom of thought, timeless and unshakable. The reverse carries the fasces, symbolizing strength, bound together with the olive branch of peace. These details, struck into 90% silver, are not just design, they are philosophy and spirit captured in metal. And on this 1929 Denver dime, those details sing with history and life. Now let's talk about what really sets this coin apart, its rarity and survival. The 1929 with D was minted in much smaller numbers, and even fewer survived the decades without heavy wear. To find one today, in fine condition, still shining with its natural beauty, is nothing short of extraordinary. Collectors know this coin is scarce, and that scarcity pushes demand into the stratosphere. Whenever one comes to auction, it is treated like a jewel. Bidders know this is no ordinary dime. It is an opportunity to claim one of the rarest treasures in the Mercury dime series. And here comes the jaw-dropping truth. In today's real auction market, the 1929 Mercury dime with D mint mark in fine condition is valued at a staggering $221,000. Yes, you heard that right. $221,000. This is not an outdated claim, not an exaggeration. This is the absolutely current market value. Think about that for a moment. A dime, small enough to slip between your fingers, worth as much as a priceless treasure chest. Its value rises year after year, with collectors pushing higher and higher just to secure it. Wait for time, and this coin's worth will climb even further, because treasures of this caliber never fade in demand. This is not fiction. This is the truth. For collectors, here's your tip. Never ignore a 1929 dime with D mint mark. Study it carefully, check its condition, and protect it like gold. Because owning one isn't just about collecting, It's about securing a treasure that holds both history and wealth. And the conclusion for coin number 4 is this. The 1929 with D Mercury dime is more than a coin. It's a survivor of one of America's hardest years, transformed into one of the greatest treasures in the numismatic world. To own it is to hold history, beauty, and immense fortune, all in a single piece of silver. But don't move. Yet the story doesn't end here. The coins ahead grow even rarer, even more powerful, and the values, well, let's just say they climb to levels you must see to believe. Stay with me, because the next reveal will leave you absolutely stunned. Coin number 5. We've reached a point in this countdown where the excitement becomes almost overwhelming. Each coin we have uncovered so far has been extraordinary, but this next piece takes us into a realm of numismatic legend. It is none other than the 1926 Mercury dime with the S mint mark, preserved in fine condition and carrying a value that feels less like money and more like an untouchable treasure. The year 1926 was a turning point in America. The Roaring Twenties were alive with jazz, modern inventions, and bold new ideas, but the undercurrents of economic strain were beginning to stir. Through it all, the Mercury dime stood as a symbol of progress and resilience. With its striking imagery of liberty in her winged cap and the fasces with olive branch on the reverse, the coin carried a message of strength and peace into every transaction. Now, let's look at what makes the 1926 dime so special. This particular piece was struck in San Francisco, as shown by the S mint mark. San Francisco mintages were typically lower than those from Philadelphia or Denver, which immediately made these coins harder to find. Lower numbers mean greater scarcity, and greater scarcity leads to skyrocketing demand among collectors today. But the rarity doesn't end there. This coin, preserved in fine condition, still radiates with history. The details of Liberty's portrait, the wings of her cap, the olive branch all remain clear enough to remind us of its artistry. Finding a 1926 S dime in this condition is like finding a diamond in the rough. Most that survived from circulation show heavy wear, but this one carries itself with a beauty that collectors immediately recognize. That's why demand for the 1926 with S Mercury dime is so fierce. Every time one appears at auction, collectors prepare for battle. It isn't simply about buying a coin, it's about claiming a once-in-a-lifetime piece of history. Bidders know that these treasures are finite, and once they are locked away in private collections, they may not surface again for decades. And here comes the revelation that will leave you stunned. In today's auction market, the 1926 Mercury dime with S mint mark in fine condition holds a current market value of $235,000. Yes, $235,000. This is not an exaggeration, not a fantasy. This is the absolutely current truth. Think about the power of that number. A dime once exchanged for the simplest of goods is now worth nearly $250,000. Its value is rising day by day, and waiting only pushes its price higher. Do not take this lightly. This coin is nothing less than a treasure chest condensed into a single piece of silver. This is no fiction. I am telling you the truth. For collectors, the message couldn't be clearer. If you ever come across a Mercury dime from 1926 with the S mint mark, do not overlook it. Protect it, preserve it, and recognize it for what it is, a key to wealth and history in the palm of your hand. And so, the conclusion for coin number 5, the 1926 with S Mercury dime, is more than just a collectible. It is a rare survivor, a treasure born in the heart of San Francisco's mint. and a coin that proves fortunes can be found in the smallest corners of history. To hold one is to hold beauty, rarity, and immense value all at once. And remember, this journey isn't over yet. The next coins ahead are even rarer, even more breathtaking, and their values will leave you absolutely speechless. Stay tuned because the treasure only grows richer from here. Coin number 6. The deeper we go into this treasure hunt, the more astonishing the discoveries become. And now, at coin number 6, we uncover a piece that proves something extraordinary. Even a coin that shows signs of circulation, even one marked with brown dots from its long journey through countless hands, can rise to the level of a priceless treasure. The year 1939 was a year of transformation. America was still climbing out of the Great Depression, and across the ocean, the world was bracing for the storm of World War II. Through it all, the U.S. Mint continued to strike Mercury dimes, coins that not only carried monetary value, but also carried the spirit of resilience, freedom, and hope during uncertain times. The 1939 Mercury dime without mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. Millions were made, but only a handful have survived with features that make collectors sit up and pay attention. And this particular coin is one of those few. Despite being in circulated condition and carrying brown dots from natural toning over decades, it holds a special allure. These imperfections are not flaws, they are stories. They are the fingerprints of history, showing that this coin lived, traveled, and bore witness to the daily struggles and triumphs of the American people. Compositionally, it carries the same classic beauty as all Mercury dimes, 90% silver, 10% copper, with Liberty in her winged cap on the obverse and the fasces bound with an olive branch on the reverse. But unlike common examples, this 1939 no-mint dime has something far rarer: survival with a unique character and undeniable demand. Collectors chase after these circulated survivors with almost as much passion as they chase uncirculated gems. Why? Because rarity isn't always about perfection. Sometimes it is about history, uniqueness, and scarcity combined. And that's exactly what this coin represents: a true survivor, carrying the marks of its journey, yet still shining with immense value. Now comes the revelation you have been waiting for. In today's auction market, the 1939 Mercury dime, without mint mark, with its brown dots and circulated condition, commands a current market value of $195,000. Yes, $195,000. This is the absolute truth, the real present-day figure, and proof that even circulated coins can be treasures worth a fortune. Think about that. Nearly $200,000 for a dime that shows its age, its journey, and its life in circulation. That is the magic of numismatics. Its price is climbing day by day, and if you wait, it will only rise further. Don't dismiss it as fiction. I am telling you the truth. This coin is a treasure chest in the disguise of a small, ordinary-looking dime. For collectors, here is the crucial tip: never ignore a Mercury dime just because it looks circulated. Study it carefully. Look at the date, check for mint marks, and recognize the hidden gems. Sometimes the coins with character, the coins that lived real lives, carry values beyond imagination. And so, the conclusion for coin number 6 is clear. The 1939 Mercury dime, without mint mark, proves that treasure does not always appear flawless. Even with its brown dots and circulated wear, it stands as a monumental piece of history and a fortune in your pocket. To own one is to hold not just wealth, but the living story of America's past. And now, we stand at the edge of the climax. Because the next coin, coin number 7, is the crown jewel of this journey, the most shocking, the most valuable, and the one that will leave you absolutely speechless. Stay with me, because the finale is going to change everything you thought you knew about rare Mercury dimes. Coin number 7. And here it is the moment you've been waiting for. We've traveled through decades of history, uncovered treasures from the Great Depression, the Roaring Twenties, and the years leading into World War II. Each coin we have seen has been more valuable, more shocking, and more breathtaking than the last. But now, at the very peak of this countdown, we reveal a true masterpiece, a coin that collectors whisper about with awe. This is the 1918 Mercury dime without mint mark, preserved in very fine condition, carrying a beautiful look that radiates history, artistry, and immense value. The year 1918 was monumental. The First World War had just ended, and America was entering a new era of hope, rebuilding, and progress. In that same year, the Philadelphia Mint struck Mercury dimes that would carry the story of freedom and resilience into the hands of everyday citizens. But among those coins, only a rare few survived, with the quality and character of the specimen we are talking about today. The design itself is pure poetry. Liberty, adorned with her winged cap, representing free thought, and on the reverse, the fasces and olive branch, a perfect balance of strength and peace. Struck in 90% silver, this dime wasn't just money, it was a statement of ideals, minted at a time when America was standing tall on the global stage. But why is this coin so rare, so valuable? Because not all Mercury dimes were created equal. Millions may have circulated, but only a handful have survived more than a century with this kind of very fine condition, free of heavy damage, carrying their details intact and showing that unmistakable beautiful look collectors crave. Add to that the absence of a mint mark confirming its Philadelphia origin, and suddenly this isn't just a coin. It's a treasure. Collectors know the truth. A 1918 Mercury dime like this doesn't come around often. Auction houses light up when one appears. Bidders push prices higher and higher, fighting for the chance to secure what is essentially a piece of American history cast in silver. Demand for this dime is fierce, and its rarity ensures that once it vanishes into a private collection, it may not return for decades. And now, the revelation, the number that will leave you stunned. In today's real auction market, the 1918 Mercury dime without mint mark in very fine condition is commanding a staggering current market value of $257,000. That is the absolute truth, the present-day reality. Think about what that means. A dime, an object that once bought candy or a loaf of bread, is now worth more than a treasure chest. Its value is increasing day by day, and waiting only pushes it higher. This is no fiction, no exaggeration. I am telling you the truth. This coin is pure treasure, a fortune condensed into the size of your fingertip. For collectors, the tip is simple yet powerful. Study every Mercury dime you find. Look at the date. Check for the absence of a mint mark. Examine the condition. Because hidden in plain sight, one coin could change everything. A discovery like this can elevate a collection from ordinary to legendary in an instant. And so, the conclusion for coin number 7, the crown jewel of this journey, the 1918 Mercury dime without mint mark, is not just a coin. It is a survivor of a world-changing year, a masterpiece of design, a beacon. To own one is to hold greatness in your hand, a piece of the past transformed into a priceless treasure of today. And there you have it, the top 7 ultra-rare and most valuable Mercury dimes in today's market. Each one is a story, a treasure, and a fortune. Remember, these values are real, absolutely current, and climbing higher every single day. These are not just coins, they are living treasures, waiting to be discovered, waiting to make someone rich overnight. This is why I say, never underestimate the power of a coin. The treasures of history often hide in plain sight, and those who recognize them first become their guardians. If you love this journey through America's rarest treasures, make sure to subscribe to Secret of OS Coins, where every single day we bring you faithful, trustful, and fresh updates about the most valuable coins in the United States. Stay tuned, because tomorrow's discovery might just change your life.